Hello friends, welcome to our channel Knowledge Amplifier. So today in this particular video, I am going to share with you one very simple problem which took actually a very good amount of time for me to solve and debug and find the root cause. So that particular problem and the solution I am going to share, so that if you are facing such problem, you can have a check that whether the problem is arising due to this particular scenario or not, and solve the problem quickly if this is the reason for your problem. Okay, so here I have launched one particular EC2 machine. This is the public IP. I'll copy the IP and I will use putty to perform SSH in it. I need the authentication key. So here I am going to choose my PPK key and here login as. So here default login ID only we are using, that is EC2 user. Okay, right? Now here let's consider we are having an S3 location where this is the path, and as you can see in this particular S3 location there are some CSV files and CSV.metadata files available. Okay, so let's try to list that particular S3 location using AWS command. So AWS S3 ls, and then here I will paste the directory and I will hit an enter, and here you will be able to see an error appearing that an error occurred while calling list object operation access denied. So from this error itself we can clearly understand maybe this particular machine is not having the list object v2 access, so we need to modify the role of that particular EC2 instance accordingly so that it will be able to do this kind of operation. Okay, so let's see what is the EC2 role we are having. So if I just scroll below, I can go to the security section, and this is the IAM role which is attached to this EC2 machine. Let's go to this particular role and let's see what are the permission attached. So here if you see the permission what is attached is Amazon S3 full access. That means this particular machine is actually having all possible S3 operation related access. So that means this particular error ideally should not arise, right? Now, why this particular problem is appearing? It might not be due to network, because here I am not using any VPN or something like that. No network issue. And even if you check our S3 file, if I go to bucket level, if I go to permission, here there is no bucket policy is also applied, which is blocking the permission, right? So what is the reason that although our EC2 machine is having Amazon S3 full access, but still it is not able to execute this particular AWS S3 ls command? So try to think about the possible reason. Here I am explaining what simple problem is causing this particular issue. Okay, so here in this particular case, the problem is basically with AWS configuration in our EC2 machine. Okay, so generally whenever we try to give EC2 machine different AWS service access, we can do this in two ways. One is either to this particular EC2 machine provide the proper role, or the second option can be you just simply execute AWS configure, and then here if you hit an enter you can provide AWS access key ID, AWS secret key, AWS region, and then output format which is by default JSON value, and if you put these kind of values then AWS configured values will be used to set up the integration with other AWS services and EC2. That time the role power whatever is configured here, that will not be used. Okay, so in this particular case we are not able to access S3, and the reason is whatever profile we have used in this particular AWS configure, that is not having S3 access. Okay, so generally how we do, first we create an user. With that particular user we attach some policy or role, and then for that user we create access key and secret key, and that we configure in AWS access key ID and secret key, right? So that particular user which is having this access key and secret key whatever configured here, that user is not having S3 list access. Okay, and by default whenever we perform AWS configure, then EC2 will use this profile for setting up the connection with other AWS services. It will not consider this particular role. Okay, so in this case to solve this problem what I can do, I can basically delete this particular user profile directly. So maybe here I can go to CD, and then here we know that AWS profile is generally stored in this particular directory, and here I will do ls, and here you can see credential and config file is available. So if I do cat and then credentials. Here you will see access key ID and secret key are configured. This is coming from some user. That user is having certain roles. That role is not having AWS S3 access, especially this particular bucket. And that's why list object operation access denied is happening, right? So what I will do, I will simply delete these credentials. RM credentials and then RM config also I will delete. So this way now AWS configure will not work. Now this time if I try to connect with any other AWS service, the EC2 will consider the role what is attached with it. Okay. So earlier this command was not working. I have not changed anything specifically with respect to EC2 role. But if I try to execute the same command now, here you will beautifully see that it able to list all the elements from S3 location. And this particular simple issue took 2-3 hours to debug for me. I was not able to understand why this particular problem is appearing, although our EC2 is having proper role and access. The only issue in my case was this AWS configuration or profile, whatever was configured in our EC2, that was not having proper role, right? So I hope you understood this. I just thought to share this particular problem with you because I faced and I was finding it very difficult to solve. But although it is a very simple problem, kind of hilarious thing, and a very silly problem can sometimes take our lot of time. We might think lot of complex stuffs like bucket policies, VPN, networking and all, but here problem is sitting in these kind of places, right? So this is all for this video. If you enjoyed this, please like, share and comment. Subscribe our channel if you have not subscribed till now, and don't forget to press the bell icon to get the notification of our latest videos. Thank you for watching.